Good morning, Champion School of Real Estate students and friends. I'm Rita Santamaria, the founder and CEO of Champion School of Real Estate, and thank you for your business. As you know, we love to have complimentary things that we give to our students, and one of those complimentary tools in your tool chest that is so helpful are the monthly superstar interviews. And today we have a superstar from the San Antonio area who is a fairly new agent in the business. And she is also a very accomplished Tejano music singer. And we're going to have so much fun interviewing Hailyn Bella today. And to kick off this interview, I want you to see and hear a little clip of Hailyn Bella's beautiful song.
Y todos me chiflan, porque soy una estrellita, en cual todos se pisan. Soy una señorita, y todos me chiflan, porque soy una estrellita, en cual todos se pisan.
Good morning, Hailyn Bella. How are you today?
Good morning, Rita. I'm good. Good morning, everybody. I'm super excited.
Hailyn is actually in our San Antonio campus right now. She's in the middle of a class. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. I want everyone to know that she's with the HB Realty Group. And the HB Realty Group broker is David Zarko. He's one of our fabulous instructors around the state. Primarily, he's in Austin and San Antonio. And Hailyn, I have to start out by asking and then also thanking you. But the question is, why did you use our Champion School of Real Estate textbooks in your beautiful video?
Yeah, no, thank you so much. And thank you to everybody that is listening, watching, and obviously a champion at Champion School of Real Estate. I got my license about a year ago, a little over a year ago, and I was taking all my classes back in March of last year. And during that time, I had just released a single back in January, did a music video to promote it. And then I was finishing off the recording for Soy una señorita, and then obviously want to follow it up with a music video. So I was in class basically every day for like 3 weeks to knock everything out as quickly as I could. And then I was like, oh, I can do this. And, and then I had my plan, prep class, let me go and take my exam or whatever. But because I was in school for so long, I was like, I come out and my brain is just like full of so much information. And I was like, okay, well, so now I got to go back to reality and finish with the music video, push the release of that. And aside from that, all the other stuff that I neglected while I was in school. So I actually just came up with the whole idea for the music video fairly quickly, and from one day to the next, I had already planned it. Like, okay, on this day we're gonna record. I called my friends, and I was like, all right, this is what we're gonna do. And I'm not sure what's gonna happen or where we're gonna do it, but we're just gonna go on the fly. And I wanted to provide this unique message of nothing is always as it seems, and really have it be an empowering song for women, especially Latinas. And in that process, I thought, well, like, you can make your own money, girl. You can do whatever you can educate yourself, whatever means necessary, but you can do it. And education is a really big thing for me. So I thought, okay, well, we're going to go and shoot some video over at UTSA, which is where I got my bachelor's from in international business. But I really wanted to make it a point to let people know, hey, I'm doing real estate. And also, because I was just on the fly and all of this is just happening really fast, I was like, okay, we're taking all these books, which were traveling with me everywhere until I took my test. I literally had my books everywhere. And I was like, all right, this is what I'm going to be studying. And I want you to shoot from here. And I want this to come out or whatever. And I want people to see that I'm going to be making $1 million sales, and all this stuff. And if I can do it, they can do it too. So I
love
honestly,
it.
yeah, I didn't think
I
anybody would notice the books, honestly.
We noticed the books. We
But
noticed that you used our Champion School of Real Estate books in your video. Hence, I said, I have got to meet this young woman. And you've mentioned already a couple of things that I want you to expand on. And that is, yes, you before COVID were in front of a few thousand people singing. And we talked about that and how exciting that is. And then being the person that you are, highly motivated, I can tell you decided to go into real estate. How do you see combining your music career with your real estate career?
Okay, so this is gonna sound kind of funny, right? But do you know what a novela is? Have you heard? Okay,
Uh, explain.
you probably do know what it is. So it's a soap opera in Spanish, and it's where like
Uh-huh.
they come out like super dramatic, like no, you shouldn't have done that or whatever. It's like really fun to watch.
Highly dramatic.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
it's highly dramatic, but in my Mexican American culture, we grew up with those. And there's this one novela that actually my ex-boyfriend really wanted me to watch, and it was about this singer that she like her name just left me.
That's
Mariposa del
okay.
Barrio. I forgot her name. Oh, that's so horrible. But in the novella, it's about her story. She passed away already. She was a big star, but she came from nothing and she stumbled upon real estate. And she used real estate to pay for all of the studio time, the musicians, like everything. Because music
Oh,
business,
wow.
yeah, it's a business. And if you
I'm
treat
getting
it,
it.
yeah, if you treat it like a business, then it will pay you like a business, and you'll be able to
So
do.
you were motivated by this other woman who was a very good actress, singer, and went into real estate, and that motivated you.
Yes, well, for sure. It was interesting because since I was little, I always wanted to be a singer, but I never thought I could do it. Like, oh, that's too far fetched. I can't do that. And after I went through a financially devastating divorce, I was like, okay, well, who am I? Like, what do I want to do? So I would work really hard and save up to do a little music lesson, a little guitar lesson, a little piano lesson, until eventually I started recording and writing my own stuff. And from there, I thought, okay, how am I going to pay for all of this? Because this is pricey. But in the back of my mind, I purchased my first property when I was 19. I thought,
Wow.
and last year, no, I'm just kidding. I'm 35. So, uh, um, but yeah, I always knew real estate was a big, really amazing vehicle in order to grow my wealth, and not just because I like nice things, but in order to really make a difference and inspire others to see like, hey, you don't have to like in our culture, unfortunately, it's a very machista world, and it's like, no, you don't have to live like that. You don't have to be supported by a man. You can do your own thing and you can move forward. And even though you go through crazy heartbreaks and like ugly challenges financially, like you can still go to school, educate yourself, and get ahead. And real estate is like an amazing way to move forward in that. So I
We
thought,
could not have done a more motivating, inspirational, I hate to say it, but advertisement than what you just gave. And there are so many parts of what you just talked about that hit many people. You got an interest in real estate at a young age. Being 19 years old did not keep you from buying your first property. What was that first property?
it was actually a condo in the medical center here in San Antonio. And so funny story, would you like to know how I accomplished that? It's really interesting. When I was 18, I started reading a lot of self-development books. I actually graduated from high school when I was 17 because I couldn't wait to go and.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. I
You've
was
been
like,
a
oh,
go-getter for a long time.
what's that?
I said you've been a go-getter for a long time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I don't know. I was just born this way, like the Lady Gaga song. But yeah, no, I was actually influenced big time by my parents too. They're from Mexico and they're like super hardworking, the most amazing people I've ever met. Very humble individuals, and they were like always had that dream, especially my mom, to own a home, own a piece of land, and live the American dream in America, coming from Mexico, not knowing English. And
There are so many beautiful stories that we have like that. And most definitely, you're a beautiful example, and your family a beautiful example of just being focused and doing everything that you need to do, literally getting up every day and suiting up and getting ready to go to work. You mentioned that you went through a bad divorce. There are people that have had many trying examples in their life of having to pick themselves back up to start over again. And you obviously shared that with the group. You shared it with me that you decided it's time for me to really be a businesswoman and really jumpstart my own career. And you were going to tell us how you bought that little condo in the medical center. So, how did that happen at 19 years old?
okay, so when I was 19, it was 2006. So, as a broker, I'm sure you remember what was going on in 2006, 2007. So,
The
um,
housing crisis, yes.
yeah, so it was like right before the bubble busted. So I was a college student. I didn't have a job, but I had a big dream, and I was gonna figure it out one way or another. And Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon was like, if you can dream it, you can achieve it. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna own a piece of real estate. I'm tired of paying people rent and whatever, and like just like boom, like let's figure it out. And so I was like, I called my dad and I was like, Dad, papi, I'm gonna buy a condo. And he was like, you're crazy. And I was like, yeah, but I'm gonna need to make a little loan for the down payment because I don't have that right now. And he was like, yeah, okay. If you get approved for a loan, 19, college student, no job, and the bank tells you I will personally lend you the money for the down payment. And I was like, okay. So I started
Pretty
making all these
cool.
calls, and I was probably a subprime loan. And now that I'm looking at it,
Yes, you were.
yes, like who does that? But I'm just like, I dream it, I can achieve it. I don't know. I hit the jackpot, or they hit the jackpot with me. I don't know. But
I think they hit the jackpot with you.
thank you.
That's easy to say right now, right?
Yeah. So I called my dad and I was like, guess what? What? I got approved for a loan at a 9.9 interest rate. And he was like, what? Are you serious right now? And I was like, yeah. So this is the amount of money I'm gonna need, and this is the day we're closing, and like I'll pay you back eventually. And he was like, okay, well, let's go take a look at it. So we go. I was real excited, and I guess in my mind, in that moment, ignorance was bliss because nobody could tell me you're too young, you can't get it, or whatever. Like, probably looking hindsight, I'm like, that was probably a very risky investment in me, but oh well.
And it gave you such a wonderful feeling that at 19 years old, I'm sure you were shocked when you walked out the door and realized even though the interest rate was extremely high,
Yeah,
still they were willing to give you a loan. That had to
they
make you feel
trusted me.
really confident.
Yes, yes. And I was a reader at the closing table. Like, I was like, I don't know what I'm signing, like, and I'm there, like 100 pages, like, and everybody's just like, oh my gosh. And I was like, oh, is everything? Oh yeah, yeah, you keep reading. They were just like waiting for me to sign it.
Now, I want to share with the students that this beautiful woman I'm talking with today is in class all the time. You have your real estate license,
Yes.
but at the same time, right now, I think you're in professional inspector class. Is that correct?
And that was
Or
last week.
appraisal.
Yeah, last
You're
week I was
taking
an inspector. Today's appraisal. Yes.
this week is appraisal. Share with us, if you would, why are you taking all of these extra courses, which is so very, very smart. But what is your motivating factor with that?
Yeah, for sure. So I actually when I graduated from high school at 17, I was 3 hours shy of being a sophomore at the college level. And I always knew, like, hey, if I'm going to get ahead, it's going to be with my brain. You know, like if there was like a little song even when I was little, they're like, knowledge is power. I know what I know, you know, and something like that.
I love
That
it. She's singing.
it'll just pop out of nowhere. So uh, that really stayed with me. But then also my parents always like ingrained that in me. Like if you are able to feed your mind, like nobody will ever stop you, and you're bilingual and you're in the United States of America. Like what more can you ask for? Like we've done everything we can to set you up for success. Now it's your turn
Great
to
parents and the truth. Yes.
thank
Great
you.
parents.
Thank you. So they're like, you know, in a way it was expected, like nothing less will do. And I appreciate that a lot more now, to where I'm like, okay, yeah, like if I can recite whatever, if I can answer any question, and then also my broker, like Dave, hey Dave, he really always harps on how important reading all the contracts, understanding all of that, and educating yourself can make a huge difference in your business, in any business for that matter, you know, but for sure in real estate, understanding all the laws and understanding how the process works. Not only can I be a better real estate agent for my clients and represent them in a superior way, but I can represent myself as my own investor client, you know? So I thought, hey,
There's so many facets. There's so many facets to what
yeah,
you're talking about. Understanding appraisal better, understanding where the appraisal came up with the value, where that you literally can do that yourself. And then understanding what the inspector's talking about, understanding what he's looking for, what can go on the report, what doesn't go on the report. It's really incredible that you were literally motivated to sign up and sit in those courses. And I know you choose to be in the classroom,
mhm,
and we are so fortunate to see your smiling face in the classroom in San Antonio pretty often.
thank you.
And then I am sorry to have to bring it up, but you told me it was fine to do. You moved to Laredo because your wonderful father passed away. And being the daughter that you are, you went to help your mom out, but you picked up your real estate career and that license and moved to Laredo. Tell us little bit about your experience in Laredo.
Yeah, for sure. So, right after actually we did the Soy una Señorita music video, my career in music really started to snowball and take off. And so much so that I even got my own radio show, KLMO K90, or wait, oh dang it, they're gonna get so mad at me. They're like, how did you mess that up? No, but it's a local Tejano radio station here. I had my own radio show. I was performing, getting calls about booking me, and all these things are happening all at once. I got my license, or actually, right before I took my test is when everything was happening. That's why it took me a little bit to go and actually sit through the test. All these amazing things are happening, and all of a sudden, both of my parents got COVID, and it was kind of like, and I apologize, like if I get a little choked up here, but um, like I remember it was so fast and out of nowhere, and I got the call from my sister, like, hey, I need to go take dad to the hospital because, you know, he's not doing so well. And I was actually doing my radio show, and I got that call, and then it all just happened fast. And so I remember thinking, like, wow, I never thought I would ever want to move back to Laredo, Texas, like small town where I'm from. But in that moment, when all of that happened, I thought, I have to go. Like, even though everything that I've always dreamed of, which was my music career, was starting to move in a really fast way, my family is way more important. And I know, like, I'll eventually get back there, but I thought, okay, like, I really feel that everything happens for a reason, and everything is always working out, So I thought, okay, right now, this is what's most important to me. So maybe that's why, like, I always got outbid on all the offers I was pitting, because I was about to purchase a home here in San Antonio, my very first home after my divorce. So I was like really excited about it. And then I thought, wow, okay, well, let me look for a home in Laredo. I think my dad had something to do with it, because I went under contract in the house. It actually, the appraisal came back under, and the seller didn't want to negotiate or whatever. And I was like, okay, well, then I'm not going to buy. Definitely helped to have taken contracts class and paid attention on that one, because I got my earnest money back. But yeah, the next day after that deal fell through, the house next to my sister's came on the market. And I was like, oh, hell no. Like, I love my sister, but we are day and night. And I was very, very, like, hesitant. I was like, I can't do that. I can't live next to her. But as it turns out, I ended up being able to purchase that home. And, like, that was meant for me. And we actually don't really see each other very often. And when we do, it's like, hey, let's watch a movie, let's hang out. Okay, I had enough of you, like, I'm going home. And then I just walk over. So it's actually been really great to spend time with my family, because when I was in San Antonio for half my life, so I moved to San Antonio when I was 17. And then when I was 34, well, yeah, I moved back to Laredo. So half my life in each city, I was like, okay, let me
You
figure
are
this out.
a very flexible person. You are such a warm-hearted person. Your story that you just told about being the daughter that you are and moving to Laredo, I can tell you there are many people listening today, watching today, that are touched by what a very warm-hearted person you are. I know that when we talked, you told me about you and your mom deciding that it might be fun, it might be a great business venture to start developing some properties in Laredo. And thinking about that and everything that you've told us up to this point about your life, you are 100% a business person. You are 100% an entrepreneur. And I believe it's just a matter of time before your mom and your sister are in real estate. David Zarko, your broker's probably already thought about that. So, first of all, I just wanted to congratulate you on everything that you have told us about your life up to this point, and to see that amazing smile is just tremendous. Now, we're in Laredo. You are living next door to your sister. And how did your mom move into the picture with your lifelong dream? In fact, I have a quote from you. You said that this is your dream, to make things happen, and that you will always make things happen. Right now, what are you doing in Laredo to make things happen?
Yeah, so when I moved to Laredo, I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna have my license be active in both markets. So I want MLS in both, because I'm not just gonna be in Laredo and then have to travel to San Antonio all the time, because my business is everywhere. And it was a plan that my dad and I had. we were going to open up a brokerage not only in San Antonio but in Laredo as well, and we were going to build homes or flip homes and do so many things. We had a lot of plans, and so I decided, you know what? Well, I'm still going to do that. I'm still going to, and I know he's still with me, and I know he's still helping me. And so I thought, okay, well, and I told my mom about it. I hadn't spoken to my mom about it until maybe like a few months ago. I told her, like, you know, Dad and I had this dream, and she was like, I didn't know that. And I was like, we had just talked about it right before everything happened. And she was like, oh, okay. Well, she's always been like big on real estate. She actually probably dragged my dad's feet to purchase real estate in the US. If it was up to my dad, he probably would have stayed in Mexico. But my mom was like, we're not staying here, we're moving forward. So she's always been big time about investing. They even built a duplex in the backyard for the old house we used to live in, and we're going to be remodeling that property to turn it into apartments as well. But she's always been very supportive of anything that I decide to do, because she knows that once I choose to do something, I'm going to go all in or I will die trying, you know? So
Well, I'm on her team also. I can tell whatever you decide to do, you're going to do it. Let's think back a little bit to how long have you been an agent now?
A little over a year.
A little over a year.
Mhm.
So in this year, you have had lots of business. You have had lots of changes in your life. What would you tell our new people that are watching today or listening on Friday when our podcast is launched? What were the few nuggets that you got out of your classes that have serviced you the best? Starting out, what did you do to get your business going?
Okay, so like you mentioned, I've been an entrepreneur for a long time. The first business that I started, I was actually 7 years old, and my mom is a hairstylist, or well, she's an instructor now, and she's more of an owner now. But she used to have a beauty supply in the garage, was turned into a little salon. My dad turned it into a little salon for her. So me being part of the Mexican culture and that part of my life, it was always like, hey, if somebody comes over, you ask them if they'd like a glass of water. You offer them something. Okay, cool. So I knew Saturdays were the busy days for my mom, and I would go and take glasses of water to all the ladies. And my grandma had just purchased a little popcorn machine, and she brought it over from Mexico. And I knew that if I left the door ajar from the kitchen to the garage and I started making popcorn, the smell would go in there. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go and be nice and be like, hey, good morning, here's your glass of water or whatever. And then I would let the popcorn smell go in. And then I would go make my little bags. And then I would come in and be like, would you like to buy a bag of popcorn for 25 cents? Oh, you're so cute.
You sold it.
So, I
You sold the popcorn. Okay.
Yeah, I gave them the water, and I was polite, and then I marketed myself with the smell, and then I came in, and then I would sell the popcorn. Well, it got to be such a big business that I had to hire employees. So I looked at my brother and my sister, and I was like, you two, come with me, come on, I'm gonna pay you a penny a day. Child labor is not child labor if the owner is the child. So that's how I saw it. But so I started being a business owner from a very young age. And then when I was 20, I started my first legit company, I guess. And it was actually America's Best Kettle Corn. So there is a lot of money in popcorn. That's what I learned. And from there, the skills that I learned in throughout life, the School of Hard Knocks, right? And also being a business owner at the age of 20 to help pay my mortgage that I had no idea how I was going to pay, but I figured it out. I used all of that, and it bled into real estate. So all this.
How did you find your buyers and sellers early on? How did you market yourself?
Yeah. So marketing myself, I think, again, educating myself. Like, yeah, I understood real estate from a buyer's point of view, from the commercial side because of my other business, but how as a realtor, like it's just a complete different, perspective. And so I was like, well, I got to educate myself and know as much as possible so that when I am asked any question, I can say, I don't know, I'll find out for you. I know where to get the answer, or I already know the answer, preferably the latter, right? So I would just go and talk to everybody that I could. I would make TikToks, obviously, family members, whoever, would listen. And I would be like, oh yeah, I'm a real estate agent, and then blah 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 blah. And if you buy from me, then I'll sing you a song and I'll give you an autograph. It's gonna be worth $1 million one day, or something like that. So any way that I could, every single conversation is about real estate. So,
I love it. Every conversation is about real estate.
yeah.
We always say you can't be an undercover agent. People must know what you do for a living. And the other side of that is it shows the pride that you have in your career because it is most definitely a very professional career. So you talked to everybody that you knew and you were able to do the tag along that as I become more and more famous, you get an autograph.
Yeah, like you're gonna be able to say, when you see me on the Super Bowl stage one day, you're gonna be like, she was my realtor. She sold my house. And they're like, oh, okay, okay, and I think enthusiasm really makes a big difference. And always looking at the glass half full versus half empty, really helps my marketing. But also just people that know me, they're like, hey, you know what? Like she knows her stuff and she's always going to school, so like she knows more. And then also I
Well,
guess
you do because you've taken not only your basic courses, but look at you now taking inspection and appraisal. That's remarkable.
thank you. Yeah, apparently I have like more than enough hours to be to sit in for the broker exam.
The
However,
broker?
yeah, I have to wait until I'm sponsored by Dave for 4 years.
Yes, you do. You'll be so ready for that.
Yeah.
Let me move a little bit into Eileen. What hobbies do you have when you're not an absolute entrepreneur selling popcorn for 25 cents a bag and all of the different wonderful things you've done to absolutely demonstrate what a salesperson you are? But what do you do for fun? Tell us about yourself, hobbies,
Yeah.
downtime. What do you like to do?
So I have two awesome little fur babies. Well, they're not very little. They're like 70 pounds each. But I have a black lab and a golden retriever, and I love spending time with them. They're they really are like my children.
Yes,
So
they are.
yeah, so I love spending time with them. Obviously, listening to music. I love listening to different types of music, new music. Um, it's a little bit of a challenge for me to like take time off and just chill, because I have so many goals and so many dreams that I'm like, oh yeah, like I want to do this, oh this, but it's also like, I don't know, my brain is just hard to stop, but I understand how important it is. So I like going to HEB or Whole Foods and just walking down the aisles. That's like relaxing for me, and reading all the labels, or going to the gym. I actually used to be a bodybuilder and compete. So
Oh my
I
goodness.
yeah, I like going and working out. If I'm like really stressed or angry or whatever, like I'll go to the gym. But
And that's very healthy. Good for you. How
yeah,
did you get your mindset that the glass is half full? That is so important, especially when we are interfacing with buyers and sellers, that we always come across very positive, no negativity. Other things you mentioned, like offering water to your mom's clients. whenever you are visiting with a seller and they say, "Oh, would you like something to drink?" or they offer you something, it's also in 30 Days to Success. You always say yes. You may not be thirsty, but it's just a kind, respectful way to sort of, again, develop that friendship.
Yeah.
But all of those pieces of information, I hope our students are writing down. She's giving you very good nuggets of information that is going into her story about herself. And the other thing on bodybuilding and that helping you to sort of clear your mind, walking through HEB, I know a lot of people like to shop, not necessarily to buy, but when they just go out, it's like it gives your brain just a little break. You're just out strolling around.
Yeah.
And we need all of those things. We need to just kick back because when we think we're relaxed, very often that's when our best ideas come forward, is when we take time off. And I can see I hit something with you. Does that happen to you as well,
Yeah,
Eileen?
it really does. I understand how like how we as individuals, especially as realtors, or for anybody that's listening, because I know a lot of my fans might be tuning in right now, it's life of balance. I've lived on the complete like, oh my gosh, I only get 3 hours of sleep and I'm just work, 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 work. And I've lived through immense sorrow and pain where I didn't even get out of bed, probably depressed, to finding a happy medium, and unfortunately, like that sorrow has hit multiple times in my life. And it's like, how do I get out of this? Listening to Tony Robbins, to a lot of, even just on YouTube, hey, inspirational stuff, listening to music that uplifts me, that reminds me of happy times, and then it triggers my brain to be able to have that neurological connection with something that makes me excited or happy again, so that I can get out, going to the gym, just moving my body. All of these things, I understand how important it is to bring balance. And when I really live in balance, or I just take off, also another big one that I do is I just binge on Netflix, and I'm just there and I'm just like, oh, like my brain is off, I'm just watching TV here, like,
Exactly. It's good. It's good for
yeah.
your brain.
And
You've hit a couple of good topics, and that is Tony Robbins is always excellent
yeah,
for giving you feelings of how do I get from depression forward? How do I get over finding out I had this bad disease or a parent has a disease? How do I overcome rejection? There's another book that I used for my company retreat a couple of years ago. I highly recommend. It's called No Excuses, and it's a very similar. It's like you have no excuse not to be successful, and yet we all know people go through periods of life where, for very valid reasons, they're not upbeat. They are depressed. They do go through spiraling down, but doing the things that you mentioned most definitely help us move back up again. And I think reading, walking, taking time out for yourself, eating healthy, all of those that you've mentioned are excellent. So, to change the direction again, how did you become a professional singer? How did you discover that you had an amazing voice?
well, thank you, I appreciate that. Yeah, so when I was really little, I know maybe a lot of people remember who Selena is. Anything for
Absolutely.
Selena. So I grew up listening to Tejano music, Border Town, Laredo. We were always blasting it in the background. And I always knew that that's what I wanted to do. So I actually would get like all my little teddy bears or whatever, and I'd be in my room. I make sure my sister wasn't there because she would make fun of me. And like close the door and be like, pretend I was like in front of a big concert and visualize myself doing all those things and get real excited. And
Visualization, that's another good technique.
For sure. Yeah. Visualizing. And then when I was in second grade, I remember I started writing songs. And I remember going up to my dad kind of shy, like, Dad, you know, how do I write a song? And he was like, oh, you want to start songwriting? And he kind of showed me a little bit. And so I would like go and like write my ideas and like draw my stuff. So also like writing stuff down. And I feel like children don't have all these things that happen to us as adults, or these disempowering beliefs that let them be creative, let them, like just be free and really imagine that anything is possible, because it is. So I was doing that, and then unfortunately, like, I had someone that I really looked up to and cared about tell me like, no, it's not going to happen, it's not for you. And so I was like, ah, oh, well, I'm still going to be super rich and successful one way or another, even if it's not with music. So
Good for you.
yeah, so I was like, all right, like, I'll do that. But once I got divorced, and I got married at a really young age, I was 20 years old, and against all of my better judgment and my family's better judgment, I was like, well, you don't know what I know, like, I can do this. And I was like, like, for a long time I thought, I can figure it out. Like, I can change him. I will drag him across the finish line if I have to, but it's not, I became such an empty shell that I was like, okay, my ego is just way too high right now. I just need to admit that I made a mistake, but was it really a mistake, or was it just lessons that, cool, I got them way early in life? And that's how I look
We
at
learn
it.
from every experience we have,
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure. So I was like, okay, I learned a lot of stuff that I wouldn't have learned otherwise. So that's totally fine.
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll do that. And then I decided, what do I want? Well, I want to be a singer. I don't care who that person was and what they said. Like, and I just kept going in that
This is what
direction.
I'm going to do. You've mentioned a number of things that we talk about so much in our classes, and that is visualization, visualizing yourself as a superstar, visualizing yourself getting that first listing, visualizing how you work with that first buyer. And the visualization is taking it from the beginning until closing and funding. And then you also mentioned a couple of other things that in reality are so important when you're an entrepreneur, and that is really relying on yourself, not your spouse, not your best friend, not your significant other to make you successful, but you have to decide that your success depends on you and what you do. And it's very remarkable that you didn't let all of that negativity bring you down. So I ask you, where do you see yourself in 3 years?
Thank you. So in 3 years, for sure, I'm a broker because I'll be
For
ready.
sure.
Yeah, for sure. Like, that's done. And I also see myself with at least 2 other albums. Like, so my intention is to finish this first album by the end of this year, to get it ready and have all the stuff ready to push it at the beginning of the first quarter of next year. That's my intention with the music. So I actually like to divide stuff into like a quadrant, right? So one of the areas is my finances. Okay, so where my finances gonna be in 3 years? Well, they're gonna be like at least 10 times what they are now. Different investment projects going, land development with a client of mine that I'm really excited to work with, new construction builds, a lot of things in that area as far as real estate goes. That's going to be the driving force for my financials. Then for my dream, which is my music, have the money from that quadrant, be able to push and have my albums, have all the most amazing musicians be traveling with me and doing a tour. Maybe when I go to Houston, I'll go stop by the school over there.
Yes, you will, and I will take you
Yeah,
to lunch or dinner.
yeah, that'll be awesome. So, that's for that area. Be back in a higher peak fitness, which is the third quadrant, and then the last quadrant, relationship. Who knows? Maybe I get to meet an amazing individual as passionate about music, fitness, and real estate as I am. If not, like, that's cool. I'll love myself.
I love it. You are absolutely delightful. And I know with the conversation, there are so many specific nuggets that our students will have missed. So I want to remind them that today's interview will be on YouTube this afternoon. Go to the Champion School of Real Estate YouTube channel. And we get caught up in the conversation, but pulling it apart, our students will find so many very good pieces of information to help bring your career to the next level, also just to motivate you. I always love these interviews because people identify, and it's like, well, if she can be who she is with the hardships that she's had, boy, does that inspire other people to help them. I want to remind everyone her beautiful song, Soy una Señorita. And then I want Hailyn Bella to pronounce it the best way. Pronounce it for us again.
Yeah, so it's Soy una Señorita.
And it's on YouTube. It's gorgeous, beautiful song. And again, the lyrics behind it, I personally love because it's about education, it's about empowerment, it's about being the best person you can be. And it's by our own wonderful friend, student, Hailyn Bella from San Antonio and Laredo. Thank you so much for being here today. You are lovely and you absolutely are inspiring. I want to also say to everyone, all of our interviewees are in our Successful Tendencies of Real Estate Champions. And this particular 2-volume book, we're going to be going with 3 volumes. We take the interviews and pull out all of the really special pieces of information that we know are tools for your tool chest to help make you more successful. As well, for new people in particularly, or those people that have been out of real estate for a while, but in our great market have decided to come back in it again, 30 Days to Success in Real Estate. I update it regularly, how to start from day one and start business in real estate and continue for 30 days. You will have business. Start over again the next 30 days. So these 3 tools will definitely give you a kickstart to your career. Next month, I get to interview B. Flores. B is her own broker in her own brokerage firm. She is a very successful agent that got her broker's license years back and decided to go out on her own with her own boutique company. And B has Lux Living Group out of the Clear Lake area. And she's going to tell you how to start your own company, small group of people, and be the success that she is, as she is in the top 25 agents by the Houston Business Journal in the greater Harris County area. B. Flores, she's also one of our instructors. So I love telling that because people like David Zarco, who's a broker in the Corpus Christi, San Antonio area, also an instructor, highly successful broker. B. Flores, highly successful broker, her own company. Why do I say that? Because you can do many things. You can be all that you want to be, and you can do it while also being a very fine real estate professional, loan officer professional, inspector professional, appraisal professional. And you can do all of that and get all of those at Champion School of Real Estate. Houston, Dallas, Fort Worth, Austin, San Antonio, live virtual classroom as well as online. Thank you for your business. Please know that I know, we all know, being our managers, our career counselors, our executive team, without your business, we don't have one. So thanks for being here today watching this great interview. And then Friday, you will be able to go to the Champion School of Real Estate, Successful Tendencies of Real Estate Superstars, and hear the podcast while you're driving around this beautiful state of Texas. Thank you for watching our wonderful Hailyn Bella today. Bye-bye.
Thank you.